Hi, I'm Adam and welcome back. Now, the other day I realised that I have been doing YouTube now for 8 full years. So I thought in this video I would share 3 of the main lessons I've learned in that time and also how that links to my photography. So we'll take some pictures while we discuss that as well. I would really love it if you were to come with me. Let's go. Before we get going today though, this video is sponsored by Squarespace. If you need a domain name, a website or an online store, make your next move with Squarespace. Now, for a bit of a disclaimer for this video, I actually think I'm dreadful at YouTube. I try really hard, but there are other people you should look at if you want to blow up or have videos that go viral. But one thing I do know is that consistency is key. Now, that doesn't have to mean daily vlogs. It just means that you need to upload on a consistent schedule because the algorithm seems to like that. Viewers like that. And it's also, I think, fairly good for your workflow in terms of being consistent in getting out there and making videos and just the mindset of being creative. I am absolutely dreadful at this though. I try to do 1 a week. When I first started, I did 2 a week. When I had a 3-month-old baby, I went to work all day, then came home and made a video. Don't quite know how I did that, but in order to maintain that consistency as well, it's quite important to get ahead with your videos. So you've got a few in the can ready to go out, and if you watch this channel regularly and there's periods where you don't see me, it's because I've failed to do this and something's happened where I can't get out and make videos. And a good example of this was recently when I was with my family travelling in the car to the ferry port in Portsmouth to go to France. I decided that we'd drive down overnight. I'd stay awake all night and then I'd sleep on the ferry. The journey was going very smoothly until about 3:30 a.m. when out of the darkness a deer appeared slap bang in front of my car, and unfortunately we hit it at about 70 miles an hour. It was amazing. It was not there and then it was there, had no time to react whatsoever and just slammed straight into it, and I heard it roll underneath the bottom of the car, and then all of a sudden the car lost a load of power. I managed to limp it into Portsmouth and then checked out damage in a petrol station and realised the front was smashed to pieces. The bottom of the car had been, a lot of it was touching the road surface. I then managed to get it into a Morrison's car park with about 90 minutes before we had to catch the ferry. And at that point I kind of knew my holiday was not going to go according to plan. But my wife's family came to the car park because we were going with them. We put a bit of luggage in one car. My wife and 2 daughters went in the other car and they made the ferry. And then I spent the next day, or the whole of that day, waiting for a collection for the car. They wanted to put the car in storage in London, even though it had all my bikes on the back. I refused that, and then the AA wouldn't help me, but I eventually got the car back home. They wouldn't take me though, so I had to get the train home. And at one point I ended up in a London tube station wondering, how the hell have I ended up here today when I should be now eating mussels or snails or something delicious in France? Yeah, I was awake for about 36 hours in the end, but then that left me at home, and I'd had plans to visit Le Mans Saint-Michel, make videos there. And I was then left for a few days without a car. I then felt sorry for myself, didn't get out there, didn't make any videos. So that just derailed my creativity and didn't manage to get any video out whatsoever. I just had to do another one, but I'm set up for a shot in this absolutely stunning woodland with that beautiful evening sunlight sort of coming through the trees from the side, producing a really beautiful, warm, soft light to this scene. And I think it's going to be a really beautiful photograph. I'll show you that in a minute. And I might have to stop a couple of times to take another one. So thing number 2 that I've learned from 8 years on YouTube is that you will be faced with a very wide range of negative emotions. Now that might seem silly because it might seem like a dream. It's the job that a lot of teenagers and kids say they want to do. They want to be a YouTuber, but it does come with some downsides. And that starts off with the very first time you upload a video and you become a YouTuber. You will be faced with people probably in your life thinking it's preposterous, it's a stupid idea. Why are you wasting your time doing that? If you do then go on to be successful on YouTube, you will be faced with a raft of jealousy from other people in your field, whatever you're talking about on the videos. You will be told, like I do with photography a lot, you're just a YouTube photographer, you're not a professional photographer, just a YouTube photographer, things like that. So jealousy is another one you've got to deal with. Also after a little while, once you've built up a bit of an audience, feel a terrible pressure to continue creating, especially once revenue is starting to be generated, because if you don't do the videos, you won't get the revenue. Simple as that. Then what that also does is it can become very lonely, because although YouTube's quite big, there are still not many YouTubers in your real life. So there's no one to understand what you're going through or talk to, and it can be a very lonely existence. I think that's why collaborations are so important, and I love doing them, but I've also then been faced with this kind of protectionism maybe from some other people that don't want to collaborate, and I find that difficult because I have no agenda. I just want to sort of socialize and be friendly and get to know people and build relationships and networks, that kind of thing. So yeah, I've had to deal with a little bit of that. This is looking good, so I'm just going to fire the camera off again. Ooh, I think that's going to be really rather nice. What else? I have a list. All of that combined, all of those negative emotions together can lead to burnout. Now, this is something that gets attention, I think, these days, but it is a real thing. It affects us in different ways, I suppose. I find that I have my family and normal life to sort of go back to, and friends and things, and I'm a bit older as well, I think. I'm 42 now, which I think sort of gives me those extra tools to deal with all of that kind of pressure. But burnout is a very real thing. Now, as I said, I am a landscape photographer, and getting out into nature is one of the best ways to deal with all these negative emotions. And tonight, there isn't a single negative emotion in sight, because just look at that. That is absolutely stunning. So the camera is facing into the trees that way, that side lit hill with you can kind of see down into it, providing a little bit of depth, all that warmth. These sort of very fresh green ferns look great, and I've zoomed out a bit, so I'm at 24 millimeters here, and I'm just getting a bit of that sun in it. All right, so I'm going to use the thumb technique to put my thumb in front of the sun so you don't get any flare, and then you combine those two images together. I think that is going to be a really special image. And like I say, out in nature, on my own, doing the thing I love, and we'll come on to that in a bit, but with not a negative emotion anywhere to be seen. Yes. Right, it's a quick march back up to the top now. I feel like there's loads more that I could have shot there though. So one of the problems with landscape photography is this: the best light is in the golden hour. And when that light hits, you want to just shoot everything, but it lasts hardly any time at all. Well, an hour, I suppose. So you've got to be really selective. So I'm just going to hike it back up to the top. I've got a classic wide vista that I want to shoot for what I think is going to be a very nice, more than nice, fantastic sunset. Right, I'm in position, a very nice position for the sunset. Now, another secret thing that I've learned, but it concerns today's sponsor, which is Squarespace. Now, really, they're not just a company that allow you to make an awesome website. They are a production company. They are supporting independent creators like me all around the world. And I think that is something they do not get enough credit for. When you think about it, it's absolutely staggering the amount of people they are helping support and the amount of content they are sort of helping to generate without having any input on it at all. They've never once influenced anything I say on these videos, and that's why I think, well, one of the reasons I think you should check Squarespace out. The other reason is that they allow you to make a very, very beautiful website, and it's very, very easy to do as well. You just use one of their templates, put a few of your images and your text on there, and then before you know it, you'll have a unique and beautiful looking website, and that will kind of work on all the different screens as well, even a phone, which is very important today. But as a photographer, having your own website, I think, is quite important, because it means that you get to decide how your images look and how they are presented, and you control everything that happens on there and the experience of viewing your pictures, which you don't get to do on social media. You can start off with a simple gallery. It will grow with you into an online store if you want, where you can start selling anything like books or prints or calendars, anything your heart desires. So hit the link down below or go to squarespace.com, and then if you like what you've created, use the offer code FIRSTMAN to get 10% off your first purchase, and give Squarespace some love for producing all of this content. Right, so I am set up for my final shot of the day with stunning light there. That light is to absolutely die for. I'm on the edge of the cliff, so I don't want to die for it, but it is very, very beautiful. Now, lesson number 3 that I have learned: you cannot do YouTube if you don't have a passion for what you are doing. That's got to be for the subject matter that you're talking about. In my case, photography. It's got to be for being creative and making videos, because the thing is with being on YouTube is it is very, very hard work, and you can't work consistently at that level without having a passion for what you are doing. That is undoubtedly one of the biggest things. So it's really important to narrow down what you love to do and then do that. I think that's just good advice for everything in your life, generally, particularly your job. What you do may make a good YouTube channel. Have some passion for what you're doing. That's the main thing. But I am now, well, because I'm passionate about this, going to capture this before that sun dips behind the bank of cloud that always seems to appear in this location. The other thing about being on YouTube is that you have to talk to yourself on camera, and when you've got people walking past like they just did then, you get some very odd looks. But over the years I've learned to not really give a shit about it. So there we go. Right, f11, 1/50th of a second, ISO 100, beautiful scene, beautiful light. There's not as many clouds as I would have liked, although there are some wispy ones picking up some colour, some of that beautiful golden colour, starting to get a few pinks and magentas in there as well. So let's have a look at that. Ah, yes, that is a lovely way to finish the day, I think. I'll show you that image in a minute, but please do give the video a like, and if you want to support this channel, please consider buying a copy of my book, because that, amongst other things, allows me to keep making this content. So that's it. I will see you again very, very soon. Bye.